Coming up on Cowboys Special Edition, we'll hear from Stephen Jones, the team's chief operating officer, as the Cowboys head into the final month of the season. Players discuss charities that are near and dear to their hearts. Cleats with a cause. Players promoting their favorite charities with their shoes. The Cowboys have just completed the toughest part of the schedule. We'll see how players handled 3 games in 12 days. And we'll look ahead at the final 4 games of the season. All that and more coming up on Cowboys Special Edition, brought to you by AT&T.
We came in on Thanksgiving Sunday morning and had a Wednesday, a full padded practice. And we as coaches looked at each other after that practice and said, we got the right kind of guys on our football team. And that work carried the rest of the week. It carried through this football game tonight.
It took a while, but the Cowboys finally had something to celebrate.
We started with that line that we're going to refuse to allow what had happened up to that point define this football team. We're going to define it by what we do from that moment forward. And we just did a hell of a job tonight. It was a hell of a team win. Offense, defense, kicking game, starters, backups, role players, guys who hadn't practiced all week long, putting on the line for each other, fighting for each other. That's what this team's all about.
Their win over the Redskins Thursday gave the team their first since they beat Kansas City on November the 5th, ending a 3-game losing streak.
I refuse to allow what's happened up to this point, including this game, to define this football team. It's about what we do now. It's about what we do now. So feel good about what you did. Okay, understand that's the blueprint. And it's a hell of a feeling. There's no feeling like it. Bring it on in here.
The Dallas defense had a great night and got things rolling early by creating 2 of the team's 4 turnovers in the first quarter.
Cousins back, looks right, looks left, looks middle, throws it incomplete, tucked and intercepted at the 5-yard line, and it is brought back by Jeff Heath out of the end zone. Tipped through the hands of Jamison Crowder. Heath was there to be the ball hawk, and Dallas with a takeaway, an intercepted pass by a Dallas Cowboy.
The Cowboys finished the night with 4 sacks. DeMarcus Lawrence had 2 to regain the league lead with 13 and a half.
Back to throw, 4-man rush if you call it that. And there, now they got to him and sacked him at the 16-yard line, and the ball might have come out. And the Cowboys have recovered a fumble at the Washington 19.
Oh, it shows a lot. I mean, like I said earlier, yeah, we show up to work every night. Every night we step on the field, it's just, you know, maintaining that for 60 minutes, and that's what we did tonight.
The most electrifying play came from rookie Ryan Switzer.
The 40 broke the tackle, Switzer to the 50. This might be the one for Switzer. To the 20, to the 10. Ryan Switzer with a somersault into the end zone. 83-yard punt return for a touchdown.
It's fun, you know, it's fun to be involved in the game. It's fun to make plays, and which is what we were ultimately brought here to do. And you know, tonight it just kind of clicked, you know, for all 3 phrases, it felt like.
Quarterback Dak Prescott played the entire second half with a swollen right wrist after surviving a helmet shot on an option play.
I think I just put my hand on my stomach or something like that, and his helmet hit it and just swelled up. But I was fine. We got great trainers and doctors. Wrapped it up, fixed it up a little bit. I don't know if I've ever broken my hand, but so I don't know if really I couldn't grip initially right after because the swelling swelled up and it was so bad. But as I said, they wrapped it up, got the swelling down, and I was fine.
Running back Alfred Morris filling in for Ezekiel Elliott rushed for 127 yards. His first 100-yard game since January 2016, which happened to be his last game with the Redskins.
Super excited. It's like a weight lifted off of us. You know, our hopes to push into postseason still alive, but we still have to take it one game at a time, one day at a time, you know, one practice at a time. So we just have to keep grinding this out.
Cowboys!
Special Edition, presented by AT&T, is brought to you by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. The Salvation Army, doing the most good. And by AT&T, mobilizing your world. This segment is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Play the Dallas Cowboys scratch ticket today. It's your ticket for a chance to win big.
Now that the Cowboys have played 75% of their season, it's time for the December run and the final 4 games of the year. Dallas was 5-3 at the halfway point and riding a 3-game winning streak when things began to change.
You know, obviously at the halfway point we felt really good about our football team, and we did know that there was probably going to be a Zeke suspension at some point. You know, the disappointing thing is we haven't been able to handle his absence well in terms of our offense. And, you know, where to exactly put your thumb on it can be a little difficult. I do think we've run the ball efficiently when we've done it. I think, you know, we could be, which I understand why Scott's that way, could be a little more committed to it. It's easy to have confidence in Zeke. Maybe a little harder to have as much confidence in Zeke as you do in Alfred and Rod. But, you know, in the first half, we've run the ball pretty efficient.
Perhaps the biggest surprise is how the offense, especially the running game, has struggled without Ezekiel Elliott. Before his suspension, Dallas was averaging 148 yards rushing per game. Since then, just averaging 100 yards per game has been difficult.
I am surprised that we weren't able to, you know, next man up. We did like the group of backs that we had put together with Alfred and Rod, and then, of course, Darren McFadden, who had run well. When we lost Murray, he ran for over 1,000 yards, but I think our coaches had gotten comfortable with Alfred and Rod. And you know, I just think it's the confidence, being comfortable that you can continue to give those guys the ball as many times as we gave Zeke. But it's been difficult, obviously, and everybody wants to point to that. But at the same time, you know, we just got to really suit up, get out there, execute, and you know, I think we can right the ship.
Another surprise has been the play of second-year quarterback Dak Prescott. During the first 8 games of the season, Prescott had been intercepted just 4 times. As soon as Elliott left, that number quickly doubled.
With Zeke out, you know, with struggling a little bit on the offensive side of the ball, I think he's pushing more than normal to make a play. And I think therein lies the root of the interceptions and, you know, some of the things that lead you to not have success and make first downs and possess the ball and feel good about what you're doing on the offensive side of the ball. But there's not a doubt in my mind he's going to look at those tapes and improve his game. He's a driven man. He's a driven competitor, and there's no doubt in my mind he's going to get it right.
While the offense started to struggle, the defense developed problems of their own. The sacks dropped while a young defensive secondary struggled to keep up.
I look for full body of work. I mean, everybody out there you know, is in the mix. We have to get pressure with our front 4. The linebackers have to run and make plays, and obviously the coverage needs to be more sound. And you know, when you do play with young players, especially numbers of young players, you're going to have some growing pains. I think we are experiencing that a little bit. And but at the same time, we like these football players. I like what they're about. I like how they compete. I like what the future holds for them. At the same time, they do have to go out and start making plays and you know, show us, put on tape, you know, what the future holds for us.
This segment was brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Play the Dallas Cowboys scratch ticket today. It's your ticket for a chance to win big. This segment is brought to you by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas.
1 year ago, the National Football League introduced a program called My Cause, My Cleats. It's a program designed to allow players to wear personalized shoes on game day to promote platforms close to their hearts. Quarterback Dak Prescott is all about fight, finish, faith.
My cause is Faith, Fight, Finish Foundation, and I chose this as my personal foundation to bring awareness to cancer. And cancer is real near and dear to my heart. After losing my mom when I was 20 to cancer, I decided to start this foundation last year on behalf of me and my brothers, what our mom meant to us, to raise awareness for everyone throughout the country.
My cause is the Bryce Butler Reading Challenge. I chose it because I know the importance of reading. A lot of kids that are in jail, adults that are in jail, have a low reading level. And what I wanted to do, me and my buddy from another team set out to raise awareness on how important it is for young kids to read so they can stay in school and excel in life.
The program is only a temporary change in NFL policy because normally the league will not grant permission for any club or player to display any type of message on their uniform. Thanks to the program's success last year, the league says participation is up more than 2.5 times last year's number.
The Salvation Army impacted me in a lot of ways. It taught me a lot of skills. A lot of people who didn't have to pour it into my life, whether it's from coaches, from Salvation Army staff members, from other players. They helped build a foundation and a love for this game I still get to play today. They helped me make the impossible possible, and I will forever appreciate them for that.
My cause is the Waterboy Foundation. I chose this because we take something as simple as clean water for granted, and Chris Long has started this unbelievable organization to help bring clean water to people in Africa and help them have better quality of life.
The league has to verify every charity that the players choose. Tyrone Crawford is all about anti-bullying, teaching kids how to tackle the issue during his camps in Canada.
I tell the kids that are going to the camp that I have back home, Windsor's Finest Football Academy, to just try and stick up for the kid that they see getting bullied in class or at recess, and just try not to be the bully. And when you see someone getting bullied, be that person's friend, bring them up with you. If you're the popular kid in school, make them a popular kid in school because you have that power.
Every player agrees to auction off their cleats and donate 100% of the proceeds to the charity or cause. Every cleat tells a story and vary from personality to personality.
My father-in-law was in the U.S. Army, and he served overseas for a couple of years, and he came back home and is suffering from a couple of PSD issues, and I'm just thankful, for the men and women that go over there and put themselves in harm's way, and then they come back over here and have to deal with that stuff. So the least I can do is give back and show my support for them.
So my cause is raising money to support Boys and Girls Club in the greater Metroplex area. So what really made me want to choose this was the first time I visited the Boys and Girls Club. To see the enthusiasm of all the kids, to see how hard they're working was unbelievable. And then to see the people working at the Boys and Girls Club and the effectiveness they had in these children's lives was unbelievable for me.
My best friend from back home, little Clifton Reed, suffers from Down syndrome and autism, and we met in 6th grade, and in middle school really hit it off ever since, and he's been my #1 fan, my biggest supporter, and looking forward to giving him the light and the showtime he deserves.
This segment was brought to you by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. This segment is brought to you by AT&T, mobilizing your world.
Well done. Well done.
Now that the Cowboys' back-to-back Thursday games have been played, the team can concentrate on getting back to a more normal schedule. It starts with a weekend off. Just like last year, Dallas played 3 games in just 12 days, an overwhelming schedule that cuts recovery and preparation time.
You've got to take care of your body. You got to find a way to heal yourself up and get ready to go mentally, physically, and get your game plan locked in your head and be ready to go for another game in 2 days, 3 days. I'm young for now, so I'm going to just enjoy my youth. Talk to me in a few years. I'll let you know if I still like it or not.
It's a grind, and you got to, as soon as the game's over, enjoy it for a couple hours, and you got to start that process over again. So I think we have a good formula for that. It's never easy, but you got to get on top of it right away.
Tight end Jason Witten should know. He's been in the league for 15 seasons and has had plenty of experience with short weeks. Along the way, he has learned how not to let an overwhelming schedule take its toll.
Oftentimes people say that the older you get, how do you do it? I mean, to me, it becomes a little bit of your lifestyle, how you go about it. And, I hear a lot of people talk about how the older they get, the better they feel and the longer they play. I don't know about all that, but I certainly feel like, that's my body, or the older I get, it's never getting in the way of allowing me to do what I do at a high level. So you got to get on top of it the day after the game and start that process, and mentally more than anything else, because that Thursday game gets on you quick.
Television networks paid top dollar to get the rights to broadcast games on Thursday night. Cowboys owner Jerry Jones says Thursday night football has increased the number of eyeballs that watch television, and says the only way to take advantage of those eyeballs is to have Thursday night games. Of course, for the players, getting mentally ready and overcoming the challenges of a quick recovery is easier said than done.
I think the first thing you have to do is you have to take the emotion out of it. There's this adrenaline rush that comes with Thanksgiving and family coming in, and it's a little bit of a 72-hour rush that comes with it. But that can only take you so far. When you get to that Thursday game, that guy across from you is really good, and you got to be able to expect, what are you asking your body to do mentally? Are you prepared to, like the back of your hand? And so, to me, by taking the motion out of it, it allows you to jump right out on Monday and get ahead of it. Because that adrenaline's not going to take you all the way through it.
Coaches have done a great job just in the practice schedule and just making sure we're out there and we're fresh. But we're getting all the reps we need to mentally in the film room, in walkthroughs, so that part of the game is getting handled. So
since time is not on anyone's side, the job for the coaches becomes even tougher. Getting a game plan together and implementing that game plan in a day or two is a huge challenge.
Challenges of a short week are real, but they're real for both sides. So you try your best to evaluate what happened in the ball game, any big picture thoughts you have on it, any very particular thoughts you have on adjustments you need to make from week to week, and then get your eyes forward.
This segment was brought to you by AT&T, mobilizing your world.
Every year, there seems to be a team in the NFL that hits a rough spot, but then rebounds to make the playoffs. 1 year ago, the Houston Texans had lost 3 in a row, dropping to 6-6 before capturing the AFC South. 2 years ago, it was the Washington Redskins who won the NFC East after winning just 5 of their first 12. For Dallas this year, the challenges are obvious, and it begins by playing better football to help improve the outlook for the stretch run.
Yeah, you got to kind of eliminate all the noise and keep your confidence as a group. And that's not always easy to do, but I think the best ones are the ones that are able to kind of fight through it. And there's a lot of examples of that across the league over the last few years that start playing really good football and, see what happens comes down the stretch.
The Cowboys certainly understand the importance and the difficulty of the final stretch. 3 of their final 4 games are on the road, with the Giants in New York, the Raiders in Oakland, and a season finale in Philadelphia against the division-leading Eagles. The Cowboys' only home game left is against the Seahawks on Christmas Eve. So far, learning how to win consistently without running back Ezekiel Elliott has been an uphill battle.
That it's just an easy way to go and say that that's our excuse or explanation. You got to deal with players missing time, star players, role players. That's why it's 11 guys on the field. It's a team game. We certainly haven't done that well enough as coaches and players to win the games that we need to win and score the points we need to. So, I think that's, again, that's kind of like that mindset thing. You focus on that, and that's why you're never going to find the solution. So it's really not where we put ourselves. We got to move forward and we got to find one.
Elliott's absence this year appears similar to 2015 when the team struggled without quarterback Tony Romo. That year, the Cowboys finished with a 4-12 record. Quarterback Matt Castle finished as the team's leading passer.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, each of those situations is unique to itself. The team that you have, the player or players who are out, I do think we did as good a job as we have last year. Obviously, Tony was our starting quarterback going into the season, and to have Dak go in and play as well as he did last year, and the number of other injuries we had and young players stepping in, I thought that was I thought our team did a good job handling that adversity. We haven't done as good a job this year. The absence of Sean Lee on defense and Zeke here the last few weeks has impacted us. So you have to continue to work as a coaching staff to put the players you do have in the best position possible, and they have to step up and rise to the occasion and take advantage of that opportunity they get. And we'll continue to work on that.
Defensive coordinator Rod Marinelli admits that challenges this season have exceeded issues that he has faced in the past.
I think so. I think it's just, and it's on us as teachers, that we've got to set the tone for our standards, but also set the tone in improvement. We just want to improve every week. Score takes care of itself. We do that. So the best way is to invest in yourself, invest in these players to get them better.
In the meantime, the Cowboys will continue with the current plan because, as Marinelli says, the system works, but it's up to the players to make it work.
Sometimes the last thing to show in a successful business is profit. Every year we start a new business here with a new group of men. So the thing is, you start vacillating or putting this here and this here, it doesn't work. And I just don't believe in that.
Special edition, presented by AT&T, was brought to you by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. AT&T, mobilizing your world. And by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss another game. Enjoy full access to coaches' film and game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl. Subscribe at DallasCowboys.com/Game Pass. If you missed any portion of the show, be sure to visit DallasCowboys.com/TV.